I think it's safe to say that many people had doubts that a Penguin TV show without Batman could actually work. And while I do think it's fair to ask, where the hell is Batman? I do think that this show stands up very well on its own, even without The Dark Knight. And you could easily come up with several reasons to explain why Batman is not in this show. Maybe he's busy, or maybe he's dealing with somebody that's even worse than the Penguin. I have a theory that we might find out exactly what Batman was up to during the show when we see the Batman 2. With all that being said, I think this show is well worth checking out. Now let's dig into why. Before James Gunn took over the DCU, there was a lot of uncertainty happening with the different DC properties. They were just throwing ideas at the wall and seeing which stuck, and that did not work out very well at all. Now, I'm not saying that the Matt Reeves Batman universe is not a breath of fresh air, but there was some uncertainty with this franchise as well, because at one point, there were several spin-offs that were supposed to be coming, and now we are only down to, so far, just the Penguin. The Penguin stars Colin Farrell, Cristin Milioti, Rhenzy Feliz, and Deirdre O'Connell. And as always, anybody whose names that I f***ed up, I'm sorry. Anybody whose names I didn't mention, you matter. You matter. Now let's start with the obvious. Colin Farrell does a fantastic job playing this role, and he does it in a way that keeps the Penguin character interesting and just engaging to watch the entire series. Much like Vincent D'Onofrio with Kingpin, I feel like Colin Farrell truly owns this role. I couldn't picture anyone else playing this character quite like this. I know a lot of people loved Danny DeVito's Penguin, but that is not really a very comic book accurate depiction of the character. Tim Burton literally made him a Penguin man, and that's not really what you're supposed to be doing with the character. He took it a bit too literally. So in terms of accurate representations of the character, I think that Colin Farrell is doing a lot better job. Oswald Cobblepot in this series is a brutal man who is looking for his chance to rise up. He's someone who feels like he deserves way more, and like anybody who's accomplished something great, he has the patience to see it through. For sure, it is hard to see Colin Farrell under all that makeup and that fat suit, but nonetheless, that does not hinder his performance. He gives it his all. Oswald in this show is shown to be so much more complex and nuanced than he's ever been shown before, and that is the advantage to a TV show format. It gives you way more time to flesh out the characters and tell the story correctly. So I think this was a brilliant approach, especially if they are going to continue leaning into this Batman universe, which I hope that they are. This show right here is how you flesh out a villain properly, and it shows that you can create a story that fleshes out a character but doesn't have to turn the villain into an anti-hero. And yes, that is a dig at Sony. I can keep going, guys. I'm not going to stop until you guys stop. The ball's in your court. If you want me to stop talking trash, the ball's in your court. Now, I know that this show is called The Penguin, but I think the true standout of this show might be Sophia Falcone, played by Cristin Milioti. Her character actually has a lot in common with Oz. They might be at the opposite end and feuding with each other, but they actually have more in common than they probably care to admit. They've both been abused and both just feel like they have been left in the dust of other people. As a matter of fact, in terms of motivations, I would say that Sophia Falcone has more right to be angry and, just vengeful than the Penguin himself does. Unlike Oswald, she's not trying to rule an empire. She doesn't really care about any of that. She just wants to get revenge. She wants to get closure on anybody who was involved and totally screwing up her life. I can relate to that. Can you? It's very relatable. Fuck anybody who with you. Every scene that she's in is well acted to precision, and the flashback episode, the one that explores her past, is one of the best episodes of this series. Rhenzy Feliz plays a young man who comes to be employed by Oz. He's a timid guy with a stutter who's looking for a family after his tragically died. I think he's a very well written character and perhaps one of my biggest surprises of this show, because when this show first started, I was thinking, who the hell is this guy? But then I grew fond of him and I wanted to see him succeed. Matt Reeves is bringing us yet another grounded take on The Dark Knight. And I know that a lot of people probably wanted a more fantastical comic book version of Batman, and that is still coming. but I think that this does work out really well, and it actually doesn't feel like a carbon copy of Nolan's movies, because these movies actually might be darker than the Nolan movies, but even if they are not in your mind, they are exploring things in a different way, and it still feels fresh and unique. And I absolutely love that Warner Brothers is invested in this universe and that they want to continue exploring it, because I think there is so much potential for this universe, and they could probably keep going and going, and I don't think I'd get bored. Matt Reeves has a great vision. I've been a fan of this guy since the Planet of the Apes movies that he directed. He is a brilliant director, and I'm just so excited to see the Batman 2. The show amped up my excitement even more. I would describe this show as a gritty crime drama that takes place in Gotham. You don't have to really be into the superhero genre to find this show enjoyable, because there is no costumes in sight. There's just a well-made, grounded crime drama that I think will appeal to people who like The Sopranos, who like Goodfellas, who like Scarface, who like watching a good gangster epic. That's what this is. And there are some surprising story elements to this series, because I have to be honest, I did not picture this show revolving so much around Oswald having a protege. I didn't see that coming. I was very put back at first, but it really grows on you, and it's these moments with Vic where Oswald becomes the most interesting version of himself, where you finally see a bit of humanity. You stop seeing just the gangster, and you see like a slightly fatherly figure. Although not a father that anybody should wish for. I really enjoyed that once you start learning more about Oswald's past, it really becomes more and more clear that this is the true villain of the series. This man is irredeemable, and you find that out throughout the series as you get glimpses into his past. I don't want to spoil anything, but man, this guy, he's pretty evil. Like I said, this show has me even more pumped to see the Batman 2, and it's going to be such a long wait. 2026? Are you kidding me? That's taking way too long. My complaints about my patience being tested set aside, I think this is a worthy show that is very much worth checking out. I would give the show an easy 9 out of 10. That's my thoughts on it. What did you guys think of it? Please put your thoughts on this show in the comments. Let's have a conversation, y'all. Let's get into things. Let's talk about some of the deets that we had dropped on us in this series. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, you need to subscribe to this channel. Later.